You notice how your mind lets in some facts and shuts out others. Like a doorway seen from the inside, half open, hinting at what's beyond, but not quite inviting you through. You scroll through your feed, catch a headline that fits what you already believe, and pause. But another headline that challenges you barely registers. Why does your mind pull you towards some truths and away from others? It's not random. You're living inside a habit of thought, shaped by what feels right or necessary. That split second decides what stays and what gets left behind. Stepping into your own doorway. You step inside your home, just as the sun is folding behind the buildings. The porch light hums quietly, casting a soft circle on the welcome mat. You pause at the threshold, your hand resting lightly on the doorframe. Outside, the world buzzes with everything you didn't catch today. But here, inside, there's a calm you recognize. The familiar creak of the floor. The way the hallway smells faintly of old books and last night's coffee. Your mind acts like this doorway. It doesn't just let everything in, it picks what fits. Think about the last conversation you replayed in your head. The way you remembered some words clearly, while others faded or shifted just enough to make sense with what you already thought. Your brain is drawn to details that echo your story. It's not lying. Not exactly. It's just keeping the door cracked open for ideas that feel like home. But what if that door isn't just a simple entry? What if it's a gatekeeper? It's not just about what comes in, but what's held back. Maybe you never noticed how tightly you hold the handle sometimes, without even meaning to. The door is half open, sure, but always nudged toward your side. The rest waits outside, beyond sight. This is more than habit. It's an automatic sort. A quiet filter you don't switch on. You're not choosing to shut out the world. You're wired to favor the familiar edges of your story. So the way you search the world has already been shaped before you take the first step inside. The way you search the world. You scroll through your phone late at night. The glow hits your face in the dark room. Your thumb moves almost on its own, flicking past headlines that feel wrong, opinions that jar. You don't stop there. Instead, your thumb lingers where the words match the thoughts humming in your mind. A headline that wraps around what you already believe. A post that nods quietly to your suspicions. It's not random. It's selective. You're not just looking for answers. You're choosing what counts as looking. But here's the catch. Every time you do this, you're drawing the doorway a little tighter. Imagine that door before you, half open, light spilling through the crack. You peek in, but only at what fits your frame. The rest stays in shadow. What you find isn't some hidden truth out there waiting to be discovered. Instead, it's a reflection of what you carried with you through the door. Think about how you might ask a question if you already believe the answer. Not, is it true, but could it be true? You'll hunt for signs that say yes. Like preferring, is it an odd number when you think it's 3, instead of trying, is it even, which might tell you just as much. It's a quiet choice, almost invisible, but it shapes everything you see. Reading the same page differently. Sometimes the lines you skip say more than the ones you read aloud. Reading the same page differently. You and someone else glance at the same headline blinking on your phone screens. The words are identical. No difference in ink or order. But the weight they carry? Night and day. They nod, feeling that quiet confirmation swell inside. You? The lines twist, curve, and pull apart just enough to unsettle you. The words don't change, but your mind stretches them along the edges of your own story. Maybe the headline says something about a policy shift, but you hear opportunity. They hear threat. You replay those words later, turning them over like a doorway half open, just enough to hint at what's beyond, but never fully revealing it. The facts sit still, like a cold stone on your kitchen table. Yet your view slides around them, reshaping what's real. It's not that the world hands you different truths. It's how you hold them when no one's watching. Maybe you're asking the wrong questions, or the questions you ask are sneaking in answers you want, not answers you need. Picture this. Two people looking through the same keyhole. One sees light, the other, shadow. Both glimpse the same scene, but the picture shifts depending on the angle. You think you're seeing what's out there, but sometimes it's what's inside you that frames the view. Which is why certainty feels so easy to chase, but the trap of rightness is waiting in the wings. The trap of rightness. You've spent hours, maybe years, standing firm on one side of a debate. Maybe it's about a friend, a choice you made, or something you believed was true deep down. The memory is sharp. You can see the worn edge of the armchair where you sat, the dim light pooling on the coffee table, that fading coffee stain you never bothered to clean. Then, something new arrives. A piece of evidence, a different story, a fact that doesn't quite fit. At first, it feels like an invitation, but then it turns strange, like a whisper turning into a challenge. It's not just new information. It's a threat to something you carefully built. You find yourself clutching harder, defending with more words than you thought you had. You don't want to admit you were wrong, because being right feels safer. Safer than opening that door that just cracked open behind you. You imagine it's a doorway you once saw from the inside, half open, teasing you with a glimpse of what's beyond. But stepping through means losing what you've held onto. So you hold on tighter, and the doorway narrows with emotion. The doorway narrows with emotion. Now, think about a belief that lands like a punch to your gut. Maybe it's about someone you care about, a choice you made, or a story you keep telling yourself. It's not just an idea floating in your head. It's wrapped tight in fear, pride, or hope. And there you are, standing in front of that doorway in your mind. You see the handle. You know it could open wide to let in fresh air, new angles. But the closer you get, the narrower that doorway feels. The walls seem to close in. Suppose you're holding a worn-out coffee mug, the one that's chipped on the rim. It's familiar, reliable. You run your thumb over the chip and realize the chipped part is exactly where your fingers want to rest. You don't want to let go of it. That chipped mug is your belief. Solid, comforting. But the chip, that's the tight squeeze of emotion. It clamps you around the edges, shrinking the space you have to pull back, to question. Emotion doesn't just color how you see things. It builds walls. Not the kind you notice right away, but the kind that trap you from the inside, holding you fast. You're not just seeing through a filter. You're locked behind it. This is the mind's invisible filter at work, pruning out what jars too much. It's why you find it harder to entertain ideas that tug at your gut. The trap of rightness isn't just about the facts. It's about how the feelings behind those facts shape what you even let in. The mind's invisible filter. You're standing by the kitchen window, rain tapping lightly against the glass. Outside, the world blurs into soft shapes. Trees, cars, the vague silhouette of a neighbor walking a dog. You watch, almost without seeing. Details slip past you. The sound of the rain is steady, but your mind picks out the rhythm, that matches your mood. That photo on the fridge, half-smudged fingerprints caught in the corner, catches your eye just long enough to remind you of last week's argument. You barely register the cooler temperature outside, the way the leaves hang heavier with water. Some facts get an easy nod, familiar and welcome. Others don't stand a chance. They're just noise, muffled and ignored, lost behind the hum of your thoughts. What if all that you're taking in isn't the world itself? Think about your mind as a doorway, half open, leading to a room that holds everything around you. But you only ever peek inside. The filter is invisible. You don't see it working, yet it shapes your view like a lens that shifts colors without you noticing. It's not just that you see what's out there. It's what your mind chooses to let in. Like the way you ask questions in your head, usually ones that expect a certain answer. You look for signs that confirm what you already think. Is it an odd number? Instead of, is it even? The difference seems small, but it changes where you look, what you find. This filter is quiet but powerful. It turns complexity into a story you recognize, one you can hold on to. But that story isn't necessarily the whole truth. So, what if opening the door wider means stepping back from the questions you're used to asking, letting in the details you usually miss? It's a thought, and maybe that's enough to start with. Opening the door wider. But next time, you catch yourself nodding along too fast. Like when you glance at your phone screen and already have a thought about what the message means before reading it fully. Pause. Picture a door in front of you. Not a grand entrance, just an ordinary door with chipped paint. Its frame worn by years of hands. You don't have to swing it wide open or slam it shut. Instead, ease it forward a little. Just a crack. Enough to peek beyond the usual view. You might not change your mind right away. That's not the point. It's about giving your thought room to breathe, not crowding it with quick judgments. Say, hearing someone's words and holding back the instant response, letting the silence fill the space instead. In that quiet, you glimpse an angle you hadn't expected. Confirmation bias shapes how you test ideas. You lean toward questions that nod back at what you already believe. Like choosing to ask, is it an odd number when you suspect 3, rather than, is it even? It feels natural, easier, safer. But knowing this habit means you can shift the way you ask. You don't have to chase only the friendly answers. You can invite the tricky ones in too. This door you open a bit wider doesn't lead to abandoning your beliefs. It's a way to step back from the automatic. To notice the gray space, the quiet possibility that something different waits just beyond your usual gaze. So when you find yourself convinced too fast, try standing just outside that half-open door and watch what waits in the dimmer light. You notice how your mind lets in some facts and shuts out others. It's not random. Your mind pulls you towards some truths and away from others because it's wired to protect a story you already hold. Like a detective fixated on one suspect, or a doctor settled on one diagnosis. Your brain keeps opening doors that fit and closing ones that don't. Those beliefs aren't just truths you find. They're doors you open or close. Sometimes, stepping back to notice the door itself can change everything. So, when you catch yourself closing off, try pausing. Watch the door swing without pushing or pulling. Maybe just watch.